Kaunas Europos kultūros sostinė 2022 programos dalis.
Well, basically what happens is when a place or a theater company chooses to invite us to create an assembly, the first thing we do is we try to figure out with the producers what is happening in their society. So if we take Lithuania as an example, we met with Edgaras and actually some other members of the team, Aistė and Agne, at the beginning to discuss what might be central themes that we would explore during this dinner. So once some of those themes are explored and we start to learn about what it is that, is dividing people in Lithuania, then we start brainstorming about where we might find people who live these issues. Because it's one thing to think something and it's another to be a little more closely related to your position through life experience. So people who have taken action in some way without being politicians, but citizens who are active, at least in their expression of ideas. So we, another step I should mention is that normally Brett and I would host this dinner if it's in English or in French, but our Lithuanian is basically limited. So we found two of the actors in the company who themselves are a little bit polarized in their position. They're from two different generations. They're two different genders, and we have Aistė and Henrikas. And with them, we go about finding these four people that would best exemplify positions that are dynamically polarized in Lithuania right now. So we set up two full dinners so that means four participants twice, to make sure that we had at least one that would eventually become a good piece of theater. Then after we do this, 2 weeks later, we do something interesting which resembles a little bit what we see in reality television. It's called the follow-up interview. So each of the participants is met again 2 weeks after the dinner and asked a series of questions about their experience. And we do this to sort of give people a chance to think about what happened and also to examine whether anything, if at all, like tiny, has shifted or been re-examined by them because of the experience of dining with people they disagree with. All this is sculpted into a play which is much shorter and then presented, starting February 18th.
And maybe important to say that it's also, there's a step where the work is then transcribed, so it's word for word.
Yes.
And we use, the words of the participants, and we don't add things that they don't say.
Now, you might be wondering how people who don't speak Lithuanian did this. So we had this similar experience in Germany, since we don't speak German either. It gets transcribed and then translated into English. And then we put both languages side by side and examine it, and then we edit the dinner. So the dinner that we chose was over 4.5 hours long, and we edited it down to around an hour 20. So we edited it in English, and then thankfully, thanks to the great people at the Kaunas National Drama Theater, they edited the corresponding Lithuanian for us. So that's how we sculpt the evening, and then we insert the follow-up interviews to further our narrative. So that's that process. So it takes some time, especially when we're not working in a language that we're familiar with.